The Mishnah teaches us that our entire bodies takes part in prayer. The first Mishnah of the 5th chapter of Brachot, Ein omdim litpalel ele mitoch koved rosh. First we begin prayer with a phrase meaning koved rosh, which can be translated as seriousness, ritzinut, but refers to the part of the body, the rosh, the head. The Mishnah continues, Chasidim Rishonim hayu shohim sha'a achat umitpalalim kedei shechavnu et libam lamakom. So the early Chasidim would spend an hour waiting in order to have their hearts focused on the makom, the place. Here we go from the head to the heart. And the Mishnah concludes by telling us, Afilu hamelech shoel b'shlomo lo yashivenu, v'afilu nachash karuch ala kevo lo yafsik. Even if there's a snake curled around your ankle, you don't stop, let that interrupt your prayer. So your head, your heart, all the way down to your foot, they're all part of your prayer experience. Now, the most unusual part of the Mishnah, perhaps, is the hour spent waiting by the Chasidim Rishonim before they would pray. An hour whose purpose would to allow their hearts to be focused on Hamakom, the place. Presumably Hamakom is referring to either the Beit HaMikdash, Kodesh Kodashim, or Hamakom, God, as we often use the word Hamakom as a way to refer to God. For example, when we do Nichum Avelim, we say Hamakom Yinachem Otchem. Now, it's not clear neither what did they do during that hour of waiting, nor how whatever they did do, how that allowed them to achieve their hearts being focused on the Makom. Now, I believe the solution to understanding what's happening in the Mishnah is by studying the intertextual connection between this Mishnah and the Mishnah in the ancient Kabbalic work Sefer Yetzirah, the Book of Creation, written also approximately at the time of the Mishnah. At the latest, Sefer Yetzirah is written in the time of the students of Rabbi Akiva, because we know that there are sources a generation after Rabbi Akiva that are already having paraphrases and references to Sefer Yetzirah, and there are scholars who believe that Sefer Yetzirah dates back to Second Temple times. The Mishnah in Sefer Yetzirah tells us, Eser Sfirot Blima, Blom Picha Miledaber V'libcha Milarher, to hold back your mouth from talking and your heart from thinking. V'mratz Picha Lidaber V'libcha Larher, but if your mouth or heart runs ahead to talk or to think, Shuv lemakom, return to the place. Shelakach ne'amar v'chayot ratzo v'shov. Because in the story of the Maseh Merkava of Yecheskel, the angels are seen as running back and forth. V'al davar zeh nichrat brit. And upon this, the brit, the covenant, there is the covenant. Now, what is the Mishnah telling us? What is the significance of holding back, stopping your mouth and heart from talking and thinking? Rav Aryeh Kaplan, in his commentary on Sefer Yetzirah, sees this as being a meditative technique. What meditation strives to is to stop the constant flow of thoughts that so much fill up our mind. And by quieting all these thoughts and all this mental activity, we are opened up to a different state of consciousness. In fact, recent studies in neurology have given a biological explanation for some of the techniques. I read a lecture once by Rabbi Dr. Natan Ophir, putting together different findings in neurology about the two the two parts of the brain, the left and right side of the brain, in which by having by quieting the left side of the brain, it often which is more verbal, it often opens up activity by the right side of the brain, which has much more intuitive qualities and powers. In fact, there is a famous movie which expresses part of this phenomena about the movie The Rain Man, which talks about the phenomena of an idiot savant that in many respects is retarded, but on the other hand is able to do mathematical equations that the greatest geniuses are unable to. And part of that is because the question is, by their left side of the brain being deficient, it allows them to operate more based on the right side of the brain. Now, be it as it may, Rav Kaplan identifies this Mishnah in Sefer Yetzirah as giving us a meditative technique to achieve a higher state of consciousness, and through that, communing with the divine. However, he explains that when the Mishnah says, if you fail to stop the heart and the mouth from talking and thinking, shuv lamakom, return to the place, he assumes that to be the place that you started. You have to start over again if you failed. I would like to take Rav Kaplan's argument one step further and argue that shuv lamakom, return to the place, is referring not the place you started, but the place. The place meaning the place of the divine. Because we know that in Sefer Yetzirah, God is referred to also as Hamakom. The famous line, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Makomo Shel Olam, Ve'ein Olam Mikomo. God is the place of the world, and the world is not his place. And the following statement, also from the Maseh Merkava of Yechezkel, which our Mishnah is based on, Baruch Kavod Hashem Mimkomo, the Makom is the place of God. Being that the case, we could highlight the parallelism between the Mishnah in Brachot to the Mishnah in Sefer Yetzirah. The Mishnah in Sefer Yetzirah is telling us how to focus the heart in achieving a higher level of consciousness, to be in tune to the Makom, meaning the place of God. And that's what the Mishnah in Brachot is teaching us about. That we should be machavein libam lemakom, the same words, the lev, the heart, being focused on the makom. How is that achieved? Not by thinking and doing, but by not doing, by not talking and not thinking. And there are other ways as well that we see that the terminology of the two Mishnayot being similar. If in Sefer Yetzirah it says shuv lamakom, return to the place, in the Mishnah Brachot we are told that if the king asks how you're doing, lo yashivenu, same root word of shav, return. There it's don't return his greetings, and here rather stay b'makom, where in Sefer Yetzirah, if you leave the makom, shuv lamakom, return to the makom. So we've captured. So the Rambam, and very much touches on, gives this commentary to what the waiting is all about. In fact, I heard first the lecture on the two parts of the brain from Rabbi Dr. Ofer in the context of a lecture giving about the mystical aspects of the Rambam. The Rambam writes on the Mishnah, Shohim ממתינים לפני התפילה שעה ובה מפסיקים השיחה והמחשבות ואז מתחילים להתפלל. The Rambam explicitly sees that the waiting has to do about stopping talking and stopping thinking. And we'll continue with the last Mishnah of the 5th parak, in which we'll see yet another aspect of the meditative aspects of tefillah. The Mishnah tells us the second half of the Mishnah, Amru alav al Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa, Shaya mitpalel ala cholim. Rav Chanina ben Dosa was one of the Hasidim Rishonim. He would be mitpalel for people that were sick. V'omer, ze chai v'ze met. Amru lo, minayin ata yodea? Amar lem, im shagura tfilati bafi, yodea ani shu mekubal. V'im lav, yodea ani shu muturaf. He would finish praying and he'd already know what would happen to the sick person that he was praying for. And the way he would know that is because his tefillah was shagura befiv. Now it's very puzzling. The word shagura is generally used for something which is very fluent in your mouth, something which, based on constant repetition, it's fluent, and therefore, without even thinking, you say the words. Now, often this is a problem in prayer, that you say the prayer so often, the prayer is shagura befiv, and you're saying them by rote, by repetition, and not even thinking about them. Now, if that's the type of tefillah he had, it's not clear how would that give him the indication that his prayer was received. Now, Professor Shlomo Ne'eh points out that in the manuscripts of the Mishnah, the word is not shagura, but rather shagara, which can mean scent or a flow. And he argues that the point is not that by rote repetition the prayer is repeated, but tefillah shagra was a feeling the prayer just flows from the inside or sent from above. And as a result, he felt that the words of the prayer came from someplace higher than him himself. And here we have a prayer which is touching on the concept of prophecy, of nevuah. Now, Rav Avram Wolfish debated this reading of the Mishnah, or at least the conclusion, by pointing out that this parak talks so much about the concept of kavanah. If Shlomo Ne'eh spoke about two types of prayer, a prayer focused on kavanah, intent, and a prayer focused on prophecy, where you're passive and something from above takes control, here the whole message of the parak is the significance of kavanah. So he argues that we must distinguish between ekstaza, where some force from above takes control, and hashra'ah, inspiration from above, and sees that our Mishnah is telling us about some inspiration in the context of the kavanah that the person had. I believe that we could develop this understanding based on what we said earlier. By understanding what the kavanah, the Mishnah is telling us about the Hasidim Rishonim, we can understand how that's the prelude to the prophetic experience that Rav Chanina ben Dosa had. By realizing kavanah is about the meditative process of quieting speech and thoughts, allowing us to achieve that higher state of consciousness. In this context, we are able to better commune with the divine and receive messages from places that are higher than we are.